Bobby Manning here. Welcome to Dome Theory. We're back. Been about a week here. Been a crazy week or two. And we're going to try to get back on schedule here over the holiday weekend. I want to get a show in. Want to get some thoughts off. But since it is a holiday weekend, we're missing a lot of the group chat. Nate, luckily, popping in, giving his thoughts. We're going to test out our own first take, undisputed here. Me and you going back and forth and see what we think of these signings so far.
Yeah.
Twitter's broken.
Yes.
I don't know what the hell's going on over there.
Do you want to know? I actually saw something on TikTok that might be explaining it. So essentially, Twitter, all the servers that they need to have all that information, they don't pay for it anymore because they're trying to save money. And because of that, they if you keep trying to seek out information that the app does not have, it's just going to crash. So that's the reason why shit is happening. So basically, Elon doesn't understand how to run an app, and because of that, it's going to shit.
Remember when he took over and things first started going wrong? I forget what happened, but everyone was saying, "Oh, we got to go to these other places. We got to go to Mastodon. We got to go to."
the first fatal flaw was the For You following button that he put on the top, like it's TikTok. I don't need that. I just want everything in chronological order. And then he also disabled all the third party apps apparently that people were using. It's a mess. That Twitter is not gonna. Lindo, write this down. Twitter's not gonna be here in a year. I know he's not here, but I'm sure he's watching. And write it down.
One of my longtime followers just DM'd me and was like, "What's your IG? I want to keep in touch." I'm like, "Is this thing really going down? Do I gotta start thinking about this? Because I got a lot of people I gotta keep in touch with if this thing goes down."
Don't keep everyone trying to DM you on IG and relationships.
Right. I don't use IG for that kind of stuff. I just post goofy stories and the occasional picture.
Yeah, I haven't.
Send stuff to the group chat.
Yeah.
That's all I do on there. I can't be firing thoughts off on there. But honestly, I wouldn't miss Twitter that much if it went down. I'd be down for something new. I've been on there 10 years. I've been firing off hundreds of thousands of tweets. It stank. That's where I built a little bit of an audience. That's where I started doing this thing here. But I'm ready. If it's time to move on, I just got to get ready.
Yeah.
Because I'm not prepared. I'm ready, but I'm not prepared because I don't know where to find anybody else. Luckily, they can find me here. They can find me on the Garden Report. So that helps a little bit.
You might have to change your handle under your face right there to find me on Instagram. Don't find me on Twitter or something.
I got a website.
Yeah. Well, website. Yes, a website will definitely help. I don't. Honestly, I'm excited to see it all go down just because I'm an Elon Musk hater and anything he does, I want to see fail. So
it is crazy. We just put all our stock, a lot of us as journalists, into that one platform. And I don't think you did as much as many others did. You got your IG set up, you got your other platforms out there, you got your YouTube channel.
Shout out TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not on TikTok. That is not something I wanted to get on and get involved with. I didn't need my eyes on another app all day. So
it's another one of those things where similar to Twitter, where you first get on it and you're like, what the fuck is this? I don't want it. And then you realize that it's actually useful. And you're like, wow, this is cool. This is great.
All right, we want to talk about these deals.
Yeah, let's talk about some. Let's talk about the most important part of the NBA season, the off season. Let's talk about it. This is what we came here to see, isn't it?
It's what gets the people going most. Movement.
And there's a lot of it. You are not getting away with sneaking in that little Jay-Z line. You are not getting away with that, Bobby. You just name dropped Jay-Z for the first time an hour ago, and now you're trying to have all these Jay-Z. I'm on to you.
So Nate and I were going back and forth about Uzis now because I listened to her on the way home from this program I went to today. And it's a lot of oh yeah. I was kind of commenting on the lyrical quality of this album, and Nate said it's better than anything you listen to, and I said I listen to Jay-Z.
No, you don't.
Which is also true.
I don't believe it.
You don't think I listen to Jay-Z ever?
No. I mean, I think you do, but I don't think you listen to him enough for you to say that as a
What,
comeback to what I
that
said.
he's one of my guys?
Yeah,
I'd
I
say he's in
he's
my
like in your mind. I don't think he's on the same level as West Side Gun.
for me, no. In terms
See,
of how
exactly.
often I
You
listen
can't
to him.
bring out Jay Z. Yeah, he's not even better than West Side Gun to
It's not
you.
about better, it's about how often
Yeah,
I listen to them.
West Side Gun. You got Pink Sifu. Like who else? Logic. I don't think Jay Z makes the top five.
What do we got behind me here? Anderson .Paak,
Yeah, Anderson
Kendrick,
Paak as well. Yeah, Jay Z does
uh,
not make the top five. Yeah,
and Stove God Cooks.
yeah.
So yeah, that rounds it
That's
out right
that's
there.
seven.
But
Yeah.
Jay-Z is sneaking in that top 10 probably for me. I listen to a lot of R&B too
The
though, and
man who
I'm not
hasn't
gonna
dropped an
include that.
album in 6-ish, 7-ish years is now sneaking into top 10 for you. That's crazy.
For
Okay.
listening.
Okay, Bobby.
All right, we got to get you in and out here, Nate. Your Wi-Fi
Yes.
is struggling a little bit, but you're
Yeah.
overall good.
I already recorded one podcast and it's on its last legs here, so.
All right, so let's run through these deals. Everyone wants to know why Jalen's not signed yet. Extension. He became eligible July 1st. We'll get to that in depth on the Garn Report tonight. I'm going to do a hit after this on this Lillard saga, and I do think there's probably a little bit of intersection there. Like once you extend Jalen, you can't move him. So are they thinking about some flexibility and stuff here? I I don't know. I don't suspect they'd trade Brown for Lillard, and I don't think they'll land Lillard. I don't think they'll extend themselves to that length. But if Lillard becomes available, you got to have the meeting. You got to think about it, and you got to potentially make an offer of some sort. I don't know if that
Yeah.
includes Brown or if it doesn't include Brown. Maybe you just try to do a little bit of a low ball offer and see if you sneak through. But if I'm betting right now, I don't think Lillard ends up in Boston. In fact, you'll love
He's
this,
not
Nate.
Boston isn't even on the list, first of all.
It's not on the list, and
No,
Chris
it's not on the
Haynes
list.
laughed when he got asked if Boston is a place Lillard will go.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, it seems like it's going to be Miami. Um, Windhorse, your favorite, put up a very interesting point. If the Sixers are to offer Tyrese Maxey to Portland, no other team reasonably can match that. So
So
it's
are you gonna
depending.
stay on the Sixers bandwagon even if Harden's gone?
I'm gonna pay attention to them a lot. I like Tyrese
If it's
Maxey. I still like Joe Embiid. The same
Lillard
way
and
I
Embiid
like.
though,
Yeah. Yeah. I'll watch that. I'll watch that for sure. I love Damian Lillard.
I've always thought that might be the combination. They
Yeah.
don't
I
have a
mean,
ton to offer. Maxey's nice. I don't know if that
he's
moves.
he's the best. I mean, is that better than anything Miami can offer or anything that Brooklyn can offer with still remaining a contending team?
It's not better than what Brooklyn can offer. I think Brooklyn, the Simmons Flyer. I said this to you at dinner in New York last week. The Simmons Flyer, Finney Smith, and some combination of Phoenix picks is a really good offer.
Mm.
I would take that if I'm Portland over
Over Tyrese Maxey and name another
Max.
player and picks. You're
Maxey's
not taking that.
intriguing. He might, in his own situation, really
He's a
flourish.
borderline. He's a borderline all star. Like I've seen this man score 30 points on like 10 shots. Like you're not beating that. And if you pair him and Simons together, all you gotta do is get the chemistry right, and then they'll in 2 years they'll be the next Dame and CJ. Honestly,
I love my wings. If they land Finney Smith, get that defense in there, right? I think that's going to do a good job. Here's the thing, too, on Boston. Does Portland want Brown on a 1-year deal?
no,
It's too risky.
not at
So
all.
I don't see it. And again, I'm going to get further into depth with that tonight. Lillard asked out today. Not surprising to me. If I had to make a prediction, I think Portland will fold and send them to Miami for that Tyler Hero thing.
Yeah,
The offer Hero Robinson picks we keep hearing about forever. And if that's the deal, we can finally stop hearing about it. And the Heat would be pretty good with Lillard, Butler, and Bam. But if I'm Portland, I'm
yeah.
going to try to get an actual good return back. Like, why? I know you want to
Tyrese
Do
Maxey.
right by Lillard. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be multiple teams Lillard would be fine going to, right? It's not like he's gonna hold out if he
No.
lands in Philly or
He
Brooklyn. I mean, he said he'd
he
like to be in
is
Brooklyn.
yeah, he's very intent on not being on a super team. So that eliminates some of the teams. Obviously, Golden State he wouldn't go to. He wouldn't go to the Lakers. He wouldn't go to the Suns. He wouldn't go to the Clippers. That basically eliminates a whole division. Honestly, um, the only three teams that I see, even that also eliminates Boston. The only three teams I see him being able to compete on and it not be a super team are the ones that we've already heard: Brooklyn, Miami,
I like that Brooklyn fit.
Philadelphia. So I think he's going to the East Coast. Um, just how north or south he is, we'll see. But it will definitely be a East Coast city.
You like going to Nets games
I do.
with Lillard, Bridges, Claxton. Uh, who would be on the wing at that point? Some of these young guys.
They just re-signed
Cam
Cam Johnson,
Johnson's
so
back.
that's huge for them.
That is
Um,
huge. Would that bring you
although
to Barclays Center often?
yeah, it would. I mean, the main issue for me with Barclays Center is the experience entering the arena. But aside from that, I usually have a good time over there. But seeing Damian Lillard, who I believe to be at least 2 years ago a top five player in the league, the only issue is if he can remain healthy, which obviously that remains to be seen. But if he's a healthy player, I still expect him to be top 10. I expect him to be box office. Um, Honestly, it kind of hurts because I think just for the sake of the league, he'd be more useful on the Knicks. Just because like you have that history, you have that rabid fan base.
They have a
Um,
lot to offer. That's a good
yeah,
name.
also Julius Randle getting sent home or not home, but like getting sent away from New York will definitely cause a standing ovation in Madison Square Garden. Honestly, if Julius Randle gets traded, we might get one of those side talk interviews, like like everyone's just going crazy. Julius Randle's gone, like all that. Like,
You could send that Mavericks pick that didn't
mhm.
convey this year. It's a compelling package. Quickly and Barrett and all the stuff we keep hearing from our guy Dan that he thinks is so valuable. It'd be a solid package.
Yeah,
I'm glad Portland's doing this though. Just to wrap this up, and we'll get on to some of these signings here. They needed to end this era. I'm glad they're doing it. I like their young guys. Sharp's good. Simons is good. I think Scoot's going to be really good. They got Jeremy Grant, who we love as Q's guys. So this is a good setup for Portland. If they get a big return for Lillard here, I think they're going to be better sooner than if they kept trying to build around Lillard and find these guys. I don't know if they could have got a Zion or whatever with that top pick, but uh, it obviously didn't happen. So it doesn't
that's
seem
an
like it was in the
interesting.
cards.
Yeah, that's an interesting proposition. I don't know if they would be better. I mean, I think that they would be more competent if they traded Damian Lillard. I don't know if they would be better. I think that they would still have some a period of time where they struggle a little bit because also these guys are really young. Scoot Henderson is obviously really young. Anthony Simons is coming in his third, fourth year, I think. Tyrese Maxey the same. So they're still trying to figure out the league. Also, you got to figure out what you're going to do in Nurkic in that situation. You also signed Jeremy Grant to that huge contract, which what is it like 5 years, 160 million, which is he's earned that money, but at the same time, he isn't with the new CBA. I don't think he's worth that much. Which honestly, this new CBA is whoever negotiated this on the player side, terrible job, terrible job.
Grant was defending it today. I was down with Grant at his camp, and he said it's going to create a lot of parity. The players get free league pass. Each player gets a year
You
league
traded
pass.
up the ability to have two supermax players on a roster just so you could have free league pass. Come on, guys, what are we doing?
They were using crack streams before.
Yo, crack streams drop on fucking Dome Theory. This is a legendary episode already.
And we are brought to you by Not Crack Streams, FanDuel. FanDuel.com/Boston. New offer. It was $1,000, no sweat bet. They're back to the 200 in bonus bets was the offer I really love. That's the offer I came in on. And if you haven't started using FanDuel yet in Massachusetts, Sorry, Nate. FanDuel.com slash
I love not being
Boston.
in Massachusetts.
You can get $200 in bonus bets when you head over there and sign up today. Baseball season in full swing. They are an official partner of Major League Baseball. Nate watches MLB night in, night out. And you got it this time of year. There's nothing else on. You got your
Yeah.
golfing if you like that. You got your tennis and
No.
other stuff.
Mm.
But MLB is the big one here. Go there, get your 200 in bonus bets. Maybe there's some Shohei props. Maybe there's some World Series props that entice you, or just a line you like night in and night out. FanDuel.com slash Boston. Go get up to $200 in bonus bets today. FanDuel.com slash Boston. Signings. Let's
Can I say something really quickly before we get
yeah.
into signings? It's off topic, but it's still sports. Shohei Ohtani has 30 home runs right now, and he's on the same pace as Aaron Judge. And I'm just saying it's possible for him to break the home run record. We should be looking at it, is all I'm saying. That's it.
So one thing I love about you, Nate, and we go at it quite a bit. I do like how you're giving Shohei his due because not many people are. Not many people are paying attention to what he's doing. Not many people are giving the coverage this deserves. And
Yeah.
I talk about it all the time. It's just baseball has declined nationally in this country in a way that doesn't lend well to him getting that due. Maybe there's some other factors too, like
It's him
him
being
not
on the
being as
Angels.
him being on the Angels. Him not being out there a ton, speaking English. I guess he does speak English, but he does his interviews in Japanese, right?
Hmm. Yeah, he has a
So,
translator.
that's always a factor to some degree. But I think the biggest factor is baseball nationally not having as much prominence as it did.
They
You
also
keep
don't do a good
laughing.
job of like marketing the players either.
Yeah,
Like
no
they
marketing
they
for
do a
this guy.
terrible job of marketing the players. Like I think even when we're seeing like the NFL start to get Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and like those little NFL sponsored commercials and stuff like that. Like baseball doesn't do that. The only ad that Otani really has right now is New Balance, and that's because he's signed to them. But ideally, if he goes to a bigger market, I would like to see him getting on more ads because he really deserves it. Like the stuff that he's doing, he's literally the most dominant athlete on the planet right now.
I'd love to see him on the East Coast. That's another thing too. He plays late at night, which doesn't help. And East Coast I think is where it's at sports wise. If he goes to the Dodgers, I don't love the Dodgers, but that'll
No, they're
help a little
crazy.
bit.
It will help a lot. Don't do that.
It'll
Him,
help a little
Freddie
bit.
Freeman, and Mookie Betts on
But
the
compared
same
to the
team,
Yankees and Mets,
it's the same thing. They
it,
are well, the Mets are kind of different because they don't really have that history the same way, or they're not. Well, they do, but like they have passionate fans. But it's the Yankees are just like you're going to the Death Star. You have 27 rings. They're trying to get 28. The Dodgers are just the West Coast team, and the
they've only
Mets
won
can.
one ring though in the COVID year over the last couple years.
Yeah, but they also got robbed of another one because of the cheaters in Houston. So
Fair enough. And Red Sox. Ooh, this is a
no,
good take here.
don't embarrass yourself.
They did beat them in 2018. Baseball's back, just depends what city you're in. It's definitely more of a regional thing. This is true.
Yeah,
But you guys are correct about the players not being well marketed. Yeah, if the Yankees and Mets are good, it's going to matter in New York big time. Philly last year going to the World Series mattered big time in Philly and Boston. Like I said, 2021, when we were in the ALCS, that was a special moment. Even back then, you were seeing 4-hour games when the Red Sox, who knows what year they're back, with these 2-hour games, I think people are going to realize, wow, baseball is back in a pretty good spot. These rules work, by the way, Nate. I don't want to hang on baseball for too long,
yeah,
but man,
they
two
do.
and a half hour games, lots of balls in play,
There's
stolen
still
bases.
a lot of tweaks that need to be made. Um, I do that it's going in the right direction. I do agree with that.
All right, signings. Houston got wild today. I don't want to start there. I want to start with our guy going to the Celtics, O'Shea Brissett, landing in Boston.
Yo,
I'm sure you saw him while we were out there, Nate. I was so excited. Nate went to Syracuse with me. Wasn't a big Orange fan. He's not a big Orange fan, but
they don't deserve it.
we got a Syracuse guy here on the Celtics.
And I'm sure he's going to be your favorite player from now on.
Oh, no doubt about it. Our commenters were so mad that I was hyping him up like crazy. They're like, "He's terrible. Look at his stats. Bobby's biased."
Wait,
But he's
Bobby, do me a
solid.
favor. Bobby, do me a favor. Just like move over to like the right or the left. I just want them to see that Syracuse flag that you have in the background there. Yeah, he is biased. He's a Syracuse, and we love him for it, But he is a Syracuse biased person, and if you go to a college, you should be.
Did you see Brissett with the Pacers
No,
much?
I did not. After Tyrese Halliburton got hurt, I can't tell you I've seen another Pacers game since.
I'm not gonna hype him up too much. I think ultimately he's just a depth guy who's gonna spell Brown and Tatum a little bit, maybe gives him some nights off. He's here for 2 years on the minimum. But in 2021, he went from Toronto to Indiana in his second season. He's only 25. 10 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, shot 48% from the field, 42% from 3. He
Bad at
showed
all.
something there. Last year,
That's not bad.
he didn't play as much last year. 6'3", 38 from the field, 31 from 3. So that's why you get him, on the minimum too. He's never been the best shooter, but he's a good cutter, good rebounder, good defender. For
Nothing
minimum, I'll
bad.
take it. All right, want to hit
Yeah,
on your
that's
Bulls
bad.
quick?
Yes. Let's see what bullshit they just 3 years, 2 million. I mean, I get the one thing that I think is intriguing about the Bulls is if they are able to trade either DeRozan or Levine for Harden and just get that 1 year of Harden and just like clean the books and start over, that would be
You
really, really
want
good. They
Houston?
also
You
signed
want
Vucevic.
Chicago to do this?
Yes, I want Chicago to do that because I'm very annoyed at the fact that they thought a core of DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Nikola Vucevic was a contender. That doesn't
So
make sense to me. Like, I understand Lonzo's hurt and he's a huge part of it, but like, if we're really being honest, you really think that's a top 3 team in the league right now? No, not at all.
no, they're locking into the most mediocre roster.
Yeah.
Vucevic, even it's an okay deal. But he's one of the reasons the roster doesn't have a high ceiling because he can't defend at a high level,
Mhm.
can't stay on the floor in certain matchups. And he's good on offense, but he needs that shot to be falling, and it's
Yeah.
not always there.
I don't
So I don't love that deal.
I don't
They
blame him
lose
as
Beverly
much.
here.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? It's Patrick Beverly.
I mean,
Next.
they won some games with him.
Stop it. Next. Bobby, you were the only one telling me that the Bulls are going to make the playoffs, and I was telling you they're not even going to make the play in. They did make the play in, but they still didn't make the playoffs. So I guess we split the difference there, but still, ultimately, I was right.
The ball thing's a killer.
Yeah,
Did
it
the
is.
Bulls do anything else? I'm trying to remember. I
They
thought they.
re-signed Kobe White, 3 years, 33 million. They also signed Javon Carter, which I already said. The Vucevic deal,
Yeah, that's the
and
one I
that's
forgot.
that's basically it.
The backcourt's solid. I mean, Ball potentially ending his career
Yeah,
stinks. But Levine, DeRozan, you're going to decide between one of those eventually. And then Carter and Caruso as depth guys is awesome. So
Kobe
maybe
White
they
as
end up
well. Stop it.
flipping some of those guys
Oh, okay.
eventually. But
I thought you were gonna
my big
say.
winner in the East,
Go ahead.
the Cavs. I didn't think they could do anything. They go out, keep
Oh,
Levert for 16 a
not
year.
Max Struess.
Struess comes in at 15 a year. They get rid of Seti Osman in that deal. Don't give up a ton.
Georges Niang as
Uh,
well.
Niang comes in at 8 a year. Great shooter
Oh
that I didn't
wow,
think Philly played enough. And then Ty Jerome coming in, a good ball mover, decent shooter, guy who didn't play a ton first couple years in the league, but showed a few things.
that's a really good point, Bobby. I didn't realize how much the Cavs have gotten done. I thought that they were a good team. I just were too we contend, but I do think they have the talent there. I don't know where we got that rumor that they were going to trade Darius Garland. That's like the dumbest heard. And it was quickly not. It was quickly shut down, which was good. But getting Drew is huge. Keeping Karis LeVert is also huge. Getting George, you're surrounding them with shooters basically, and you can never have too many shooters, especially in this NBA.
They needed that, yeah. Uh, Dallas, they keep Kyrie. I don't know who they were betting against him. He said he was going to take that Phoenix meeting. They couldn't really pay him. He kept floating the Lakers. They couldn't really pay him. but Dallas ends up paying him $42 a year anyway. And great numbers. We can have the Kyrie debate all year long,
We
as we
actually
will,
have had it all year long.
and we'll continue to. But we know at this point the numbers are great, but things don't go well when he's in the room. And this is the fourth stop in a row where that happened last year. Was it all his fault Dallas fell apart and decided to tank out of the playoffs? No. But
Yeah.
things didn't go well the moment he arrived. Now they're
I
banking
mean,
on him.
I think this one with Dallas is more correlation, not causation, because when you look at what they gave up for him, they gave up their best defender for him, and they already weren't that good of a defensive team in the first place. So you basically just doubled down on trying to outscore everybody, and Kyrie and Luca didn't have the time to kind of generate that chemistry that would be necessary for them to outscore people. And also, I don't know if it's going to work in general because Kyrie is a really ball dominant guard.
Those
Luca
guys
is
are playing hot
obviously,
potato.
yeah, like I don't see the vision, and I also think it's time to start asking questions about if it's possible to pair a player with Luca, because I thought that the Porzingis Doncic combination would work out a little bit better because you have a they can just run pick and roll all day, but that obviously didn't turn out well. So now I'm looking around the league and I'm like, realistically, who can Dallas get that actually will work well with Luca? And I still don't have an answer for that.
Did you like the real quick?
No. You didn't address any of your problems. You now have another mouth to feed on offense, and you don't have anyone who sets the table.
Not even Derek White.
No, you need an
That's
elite
fine.
point guard like Chris Paul. Like Chris Paul is there.
Oh, it's
I mean,
always Chris Paul, and you should be the last person saying Chris
I
Paul.
I should, but at the same time, like I still recognize that he's one of the best playmakers in the league. Still, like you have Chris Paul out there, you have James Harden out there. Like there are what you needed, and it was so apparent because Jaylen Brown kept turning the ball whole team, but Jaylen was a playmaker so that Jason Tatum playing my turn, your turn. You need someone who can actually take control of that offense. Porzingis isn't that guy. And there were guys out there, as I said before, Chris Paul, James Harden, etc. So I don't really think you solved any of your problems. I think you actually exacerbated the problem. And because of that, I wouldn't be shocked if the Celtics kind of fall from that pillar that they were on the past 2 years.
Yeah, I'm torn on it. I feel the same way in some sense. I also like what Porzingis did last year so much. When we were debating in the chat, I went back, searched Porzingis, saw what I said about him during the year, and it was just constant praise. And at one point, I even said I'd extend him if I was Wizards. So,
I
so
think you were
Boston ends up.
operating from a completely different mindset then.
Yeah, of course. And I hate to see Smart go. I thought he was a big part of this team. Guy I really loved. They're gonna miss him. 30 million a year
That's
though on a
another
Porzingis.
thing. That's another thing
Yeah,
too. Like who's gonna be the culture setter now? Like Marcus Smart, he for what yeah, there are pros and cons with Marcus Smart, but one of the pros is he's one of the best leaders. He's one of the best tone setters in the locker room, similar to Draymond Green in that way. And if you eliminate that, like I'm getting ready to say that if Draymond Green left Golden State, the dynasty is over. And I feel like it might be a similar talking point for the Celtics from the standpoint of like you guys were a tough team for the most part. You guys played defense, but now is Tatum or Brown really? Because it would have to be one of those two, and
that's
realistically,
why
it can't be
that might be
Brown.
why they're doing it. Push
But
those guys toward that.
it can't be Brown because then you're going to continue to exacerbate the situation of who is actually the alpha on the team. So it has to be Tatum who takes control of that culture. And realistically, I don't know if he's up for that.
I don't either, but at some point you have to find out. And I guess at some point you need to shake up the core. If you never did it, you never would have known what would happen. This isn't quite the way I would have done it, but it is creative and it is a really good player. And they get him back at $30 million a year, 2-year extension, which is decent. So we'll see how that goes. Houston, man. Ime. Fred VanVleet 130. I don't want to call Fred VanVleet a bad defender, but he's certainly not a difference maker on that end. After a rough last season in the Toronto, This one blew my mind as I was driving back just before the show here. $80 million for Dylan Brooks.
I don't understand. I mean, it seems like from the outside looking in, you already kind of have a culture problem in Houston. I don't know if Dylan Brooks is the guy to solve that. Fred VanVleet, he's a champion. He understands what it takes to win. So I do like that signing because he's a guard. He plays the same position as Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. They're two stars mainly. Also, you have Sengun over there, obviously. So I can see him in that mentorship role. I'm not really sure how much of a difference Dylan Brooks makes on this roster, or honestly on any NBA roster. He does bring that level of toughness, but it's just the shot IQ is just so bad. Like, is it
VanVleet
really
could
worth
be
it?
a culture setter. You worry about his game at 42 million
Yeah.
with all the miles and his size and all that. They're trying to play a defensive system too, like you said, under Ime and Şengün, and the worst defensive team in the league really over the last 2-3 years. Uh,
They
I
have
don't,
no
I don't.
interest in playing defense at all. Like none.
Udoka's gonna stress and he's gonna bench the guys who don't. So that's a good coaching hire for them. But I don't know about these guys they have for him. And man, they have a lot of young players who want the ball. Lakers, I like it. Vincent,
Um,
I don't know. 3 years,
Vincent, I like.
33.
You have someone who can replace.
Consistency in.
You have someone who can replace D'Angelo Russell when D'Angelo Russell starts to struggle. I like that move a lot.
And he's
Oh,
better.
Dennis
He's
Schroeder's
better.
gone.
He's better on the surface than Schroeder. Schroeder had that LeBron chemistry. So I'm a little torn
Yeah.
on that one too. I love Reeves. Nothing not to love there. Rui, 51 million, 17
Yeah.
a year. A little
That's
high.
he no, I think he's deserving of that. He's someone that you could really play at. You could play him at any forward spot. In a emergency situation, he's big enough to play five. So you get a lot of versatility out of him, and he's a good defender. Only issue is offensively, he's kind of still a little raw. But yeah, Tatum and Brown seem like they like auto tune tones. Marcus is gangster rap. I mean, I guess, but you're not going to say that to Young Thug. So, yeah.
So I was working on a story about this. Tatum's a huge Jay-Z guy. Loves a lot of throwbacks like
Oh, just like
UGK
you.
and all that. No, way bigger than me.
Okay.
Brown likes like Wale, J Electronica, kind of some of
I can
the
see that from him.
alternative stuff. And Marcus, I hear likes everything. He'll
Oh,
listen to anything. So
yeah.
I think he's into the older stuff too. He's on the older side of those guys. But I'd have to imagine a lot of these locker rooms, Nate, the younger ones, they're on that young boy.
Oh,
They're on
yeah, for sure.
all those
Young
guys you
boy,
listen
Lil
to.
Durk. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. As much as I have critiques for this Lil Uzi album, if you play that before a game, there's no way you can't come out being pumped for the game. There's absolutely no way. Something's wrong with you if that happens.
Oh, the Heat got Thomas Bryant. I want to skip
Yeah.
to I want to skip to those Suns. They got a lot of, so obviously they got to fill the bench guys with whoever they can find.
Mm-hmm.
Damian Lee, Drew Eubanks,
Mm-hmm.
Keita Bates Diop, Chimmy
Mm-hmm.
Matu, who was solid with the
I don't even know
Kings.
who that is, honestly.
Yeah, kind of a versatile
Josh
five.
Okogie.
Okogie last year. And
I like
Yuta,
Watanabe. I do
who's
like
good with
him.
the Nets.
Yeah.
That's a solid group. Aiton's got to play tough. He's got to improve.
I
Beal,
don't
I
think
think
it's
he
I
can
don't think
fit
it's
in.
Aiton though. I really think they need to do a better job of getting him the ball.
Yes. And
Like
do they have a
he's
four
a
center
walking
now?
20 and 10. Like he literally is a walking 20 and 10, and he's gonna probably average like 8 points this season.
They're in a similar spot to Boston, aren't they? The three
Yeah.
wings, or the
Yeah.
three, big three on the perimeter, and not much of a point guard. I mean, they're in an even worse spot than Boston, actually, because
Yeah.
you got to give Eric White some credit.
I
He was
mean,
great last
I
year.
will
The
say
Suns have nobody.
I will say, as much as it pains me to say this, and Bobby, you know how much it's gonna pain me to say this, there is a chance that Devin Booker is a way better playmaker than we know. And if that's true, we have to take the Suns seriously if that's true.
Yeah, and that's what the Celtics need from Tatum too. These teams are almost in a exact same position.
Yeah.
where they're putting the ball handling duties on their star scorer and saying, get better. And you know what? I'll give Booker this. He's done a better job at that than Tatum has
Oh yeah,
so
for
far in
sure.
his career.
I don't like. I'm willing to entertain it with Devin Booker. I'm not willing to entertain it with Tatum at all.
I think Tatum can do it for stretches. He just needs to stay in that mode, especially
I
late in
just,
games.
yeah, I just don't want him to. Like I think back to the Milwaukee Bucks Brooklyn Nets series with Kevin Durant by himself and him having to do everything. And in an ideal situation, I don't want that at all. Like I want someone else who, because I kind of think of Tatum and Kevin Durant from the same way as both. They're both best when they're scoring and playing defense. Similar to Kawhi Leonard as well. And I don't. I just want them to score. I don't want them to have to worry about, okay, I shot the ball the past 3 times. Let me get it to Jalen so he can make sure. Like there should be another player whose job it is to worry about that, not from Tatum or Brown.
Let's get into some of these individual signings here, rather than going team by team. One that intrigued me, I'd say, is
Bruce Brown to the Pacers is interesting.
that's what I was looking for. I can't find it, but
It's
that's
right here.
up
I have it. Denver to Indiana, 2 years, 45 million.
there. It
Um,
is.
that's interesting.
And you know
That's a.
what?
I
A
think that's
second-year
more.
team option.
Oh, is it a second year team? He gave him a team option? No way.
Yeah, kind of crazy, but he gets 21
No
million up
way.
front.
I mean,
Weird deal, but he gets a lot of money if he finishes it out.
yeah. I mean, I think the
Does he
story
fit on
for
this
this.
team?
Hmm?
Does he fit on this team?
Yes. I don't remember, and I could be completely wrong because again, I don't really watch the Pacers like that. But I don't know who their backup point guard is.
TJ McConnell.
And oh, TJ McConnell's a good defender. He's not really that much of a table setter. So yeah, I think that Bruce Brown has a place on this team.
Yeah, and Halliburton's gonna set him up.
Yeah,
He got extended big time last night, by the way,
yeah,
260, I think. Uh,
deservedly so.
yeah, I mean
Desmond
they.
Bain getting 207 million is crazy. Like I like him, and I think that he has the chance to be a really good player, possibly an all star. I don't think he's at that level yet where we can write it in stone that that's what he's going to be.
You know what's fun though is you can still debate that Sabonis Halliburton trade, and when it happened, everyone ripped the Kings, and the Kings looked so dumb, and they crashed and burned the rest of the way that year and didn't make the playoffs. But then they come back, and Sabonis is a centerpiece, everything they're doing. They almost beat the Warriors. They have this great year where they're the best offense ever around him. And so you say you weren't playing well, and you traded Halliburton for Sabonis, and then you became a real team. And the Pacers obviously took a massive leap trading Sabonis for Halliburton, and Halliburton looks like he might be an All NBA guy one day. So somehow, some way, that trade might have been fair.
Yeah, it's one of the rare times where it works out for both teams. It's like the second time in 300 trades that this has happened. Honestly,
Yeah, stunning. I mean, I still think the Pacers will go down as winners here, but
yeah.
right now it's fairly even.
I
And the
mean,
Pacers,
I think it's still even because you also have to remember that De'Aaron Fox might have been a little bit shackled by having to share the ball with Tyrese Halliburton, and he did explode into. Did he make the All Star team last year? I think he did, right?
Fox, yes,
Yeah.
as
So,
a I think he got in on the replacement, but whatever.
but like, he made the All-Star team the year they traded away.
He was All NBA too, actually.
Yes,
Fox.
he had a really big year. So I think that justifies getting rid of Halliburton, especially when you have Sabonis, who I kind of wanted him to play better in the playoffs, but season like if he gets a 3 point shot, watch out for the Kings. And also, what a
Look out for
fan
the
base! Like
Pacers
they
too.
deserve it. The
I
Kings,
like what the
Sacramento
Pacers
Kings
got going here.
fan base deserve it. So yeah, rabid fan base. I want to go to a playoff game over there one time.
I do as well. I really want them to get Draymond. Draymond's back in Golden State.
Yeah,
He will not be getting revenge from down the road.
the dynasty is still intact.
Dallas didn't love Kyrie, but Seth Curry, I said, will be the steal of this class.
Yeah,
$9 million for 2 years for a guy who shot 45% from three a couple years
is
ago.
he still statistically the best 3 point shooter of all time, or has that
Probably.
changed?
I think he came in at 40 last year, so he's probably
Yeah,
close. But he didn't play
he's
a ton
definitely
for
top five
Brooklyn.
still. No, he didn't. I don't know why. I mean, Brooklyn was a mess last year, so I don't
They were.
really. Yeah,
Your guy Russ.
Dennis Smith Jr. to Brooklyn is interesting.
Yes. One of those
That
weird ones
is,
that came in
yeah,
late. He was good last year quietly in Charlotte.
he was.
Russ,
Yes,
he'll be the point guard again in Clippers land.
yes, sir.
Can you imagine him and Harden reuniting?
Yes, I can. Honestly, the issue with the Clippers is literally just that they cannot stay healthy. If Kawhi Leonard and PG could play 72 games a year each season, they would have like a couple of rings by now. Let's be honest. Especially with the way that they filled out the roster around them too. Like they have really good depth guys. The only reason why we're not saying that the Clippers have a championship right now is literally because Kawhi and PG can't stay healthy. But I
Yeah,
like
and
the rest
part of
of the
that is
team.
if your guys aren't playing consistently enough together, they can't gel.
Yeah. Russell
And that
Westbrook also would have been another guy that would have helped out the Suns and Boston because he's also a table setter.
yeah, and he's allowed to do that in LA. It looked good last year, but by playoff time, George and Kawhi are gone, and it's just Westbrook and Powell doing
Yeah.
their thing.
But
So it's gonna look completely different.
Westbrook showed up in the playoffs.
Yeah, they put up a
What a
fight.
time.
It
Yeah.
wasn't enough, but I wonder how these guys are gonna fit in with Kawhi and George actually back. I thought they are they gonna do this Harden thing?
I I don't know. Honestly,
That's gonna be
I'm not
tricky.
fully sold on Harden leaving the Sixers yet, honestly. I feel like
He's out of
I
there
I feel like
eventually.
it's yeah, I feel like it's still mendable kind of. Like the issue what that was reported is that he wasn't happy with the way that they dealt with his free agency. I assume it was some type of deal where he's supposed to take less last year and then he would get paid this season, this off season. And obviously that hasn't happened yet. So I do see the frustration with that. Um, but I just don't. Besides my that I feel like getting, I don't really see where Harden would go.
This might be it for the Clippers. They gotta extend these guys. I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna play it out this year and go from there. And if it does fall apart before they move into this new arena, it'll stink for them. But this is it. Ty Lue's on a 1 year deal before a team option. Uh, all those stars, Kawhi, PG, they're on a 1 year deal for their player options. So it's make or break for LA, and I don't like their chances. Staying healthy,
Yeah,
shooting,
it's very
gelling,
doubtful.
depth, all that. I'm very doubtful. I do like the Lakers much better than, by the way. I just realized Jackson Hayes. I saw
Yeah,
Lindo talking about that earlier.
that's the
It's a
interesting
20
pickup. I think it will overall work for them though.
it's a 23-year-old with real upside. I didn't love him
Yeah,
in New Orleans, but Derrick Rose goes to Memphis. I guess he's gonna
good locker
help
room
him
guy,
out
and he's
in the locker
also,
room.
from what I saw, he's also actually going to play, which is really good for him as well.
Josh Richardson back to Miami's a little fun. He was good the first time around there,
Yeah,
from 15 to 19, so he'll fit
solid
in.
defender,
He actually
very
was the
solid
guy they
defender.
traded for Jimmy Butler.
Yes, yes, he was. That is true.
Are the Bucks reaching the end here? They're keeping this core together, but they're in their 30s and making big money now.
I think you have to keep the core together just because of how important Brooke Lopez is for that team. Understanding that with Brooke Lopez shooting threes at the way he does, you can't afford to pack the paint and guard against Giannis because he's just going to kick it out to Brooke for three. Um, I really think that if they allowed Brooke to walk, that would be the end of it. I really did.
Yeah,
So that's
that was big keeping
yeah, that's a
him.
really big deal. Also, you have Chris Middleton re-signed. I believe the number was I have it here. 3 years, 102 million. Can he stay healthy? Is a question.
He was awful last year. Maybe he gets fresh this summer, but he was coming off the bench for a
Yeah,
while.
I wouldn't say I'd say rusty. I wouldn't say awful. I'll give him his respect. I'll say rusty.
Awful shooting the ball at the very least.
Okay.
He's a much better shooter than he showed last
Okay.
year.
Yes. We have to give the champion his respect. Um.
He used to scare the hell out of me, but not last year. And that showed me that something changed there.
Who
He was not a guy you
who
feared if he came
scared you
out the
more,
bench.
Chris Middleton or Goran Dragic?
Oh man, the 2020 Heat were terrifying. Dragic was definitely one of the more all-time scary guys coming to TD Garden on any given night with that Heat team, especially in those East Finals. No one really scared me on the Heat last year. They just got it done,
Oh, you're
night
telling
in, night
me
out.
You don't see Gabe Vincent and Max Strus in your nightmares.
Oh, they're gone now, and let's see if
That is true.
Philly's going to be playing there next.
Well, Dame
Anything else
Lillard
here?
definitely has to scare you. No, not really. It's only
Wasn't
been
the
what, one
craziest
day?
free agency?
What'd you say?
Wasn't the craziest free agency? Not a
No,
ton of
not at all.
movement, but
Yeah.
some good moves. The Lakers loading up on depth's interesting to me. I
Um,
love what they're doing. They should be able to go on
some
one last
we
big
do
run
have
here.
some interesting free agents to watch out for, though. We do have
Real
Eric
quick,
Gordon.
before you read those off, I want to sneak in one more read here. Of course,
Yes.
everybody, you know AG1. You start off your morning with that scoop of AG1. You're getting 75 vitamins, minerals, adaptogens, probiotics, and more. Everything you need basically for your nutrition is in here. You can get in different places. The cost's going to add up, or you can get AG1. drinkag1.com/garnet, and you're going to get a year's supply of vitamin D. 5 free travel packs of AG1 with your first purchase. They get cool gear as well, bottles to drink it out of, containers to store it in, all with that green theme. Used to know them as Athletic Greens. It's drinkag1.com/garden now. That's your new URL to go out there and check that out. So you got some free agents lined up to watch out for the rest of the weekend
Um,
here, Nate?
yeah, Eric Gordon, they were saying that he might be a Laker, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case anymore. Christian Wood, Kelly Oubre Jr. would be interesting. I heard Dario Saric probably going to the Warriors, which
You know
will
who Wood's
remain to be
starting to
seen.
remind me a little bit of?
Who?
Whiteside. Really good, big numbers, but man, no one wants him.
I see the logic. I will say that when Hassan Whiteside first became a nationally known player, he was way more dominant than Christian Wood.
Yeah, on
Like, he had a
defense,
triple double with
Wood's
blocks.
offense, that he's thriving on.
Yeah. Jeff Green is probably going to be re-signed by the Denver Nuggets. Matisse Thybulle was interesting to me.
Grant Williams is floating out there.
Yeah.
Anyone interested?
I'm sure. I mean, he said he those throws. I missed both. Like, I'm not sure.
He did miss both.
Paul Reed is probably going to be re-signed. Ayo Dosunmu is also probably going to be re-signed. Terrence Ross is
PJ
interesting.
Washington's solid.
Yeah, he is solid. Miles Bridges, obviously. TJ
Man,
Warren is interesting.
these restricted free agents get killed every year.
Yeah. I saw one more name. Let me see. Montrezl Harrell would be interesting to me,
Yeah.
but that's pretty much it. Aside from watching where Damian Lillard is going to go via trade, there isn't really much else to look out for.
I read too, Miles Bridges seems to be some doubt emerging. He ends up back in Charlotte. They might even let him go in the free agency.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to be something to watch for. He's suspended games when he picks up a new team again. That was kind of bogus that they let him serve 20 while he wasn't on a team, but neither here nor there. Ooh, the Spurs let Romeo Langford go into unrestricted free agent. So much for his Spurs tenure.
Another interesting move, and this is probably the last one that I find interesting. Joe Ingles to your Orlando Magic, Bobby.
I didn't love it. He looked old in Milwaukee last year. We want to see in Orlando those young guys get some run. I want to see this team embrace its youth. You know what I thought was weird too for them? Their backcourt's what? Fultz, Suggs, Anthony,
Anthony,
and they got Gary Harris floating around there, but that's their
yeah,
core three at guard. They go on and draft a point guard and Anthony Black from Arkansas. And then they go out and draft another guard in Jet Howard, Jawan Howard's son from Michigan. And both with the Bulls pick there that they had. So 2 lottery picks, both guards.
someone's getting traded. 2 people are probably getting traded.
Look out for Fultz. He's a free agent next year. I'm sure some teams would love to have him after he got rejuvenated in Orlando. I've always
Fultz
liked
to
him.
Denver would be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Anyone in Denver next to Jokic is
they need
better.
a bench. That's all they need now, a bench.
Do you think they can sustain this Brown loss? He was big for them.
He is big. if they get another playmaker, they also re-signed Reggie Jackson, which I'm not really that fond of.
Weird signing.
Yeah, like if they get another playmaker in there, yeah, I think so. But I think it's more dependent on. I'm not sure who they drafted, but it's more dependent on their young guys. Also, Christian Brown, if he takes the next step, I think that he won't replace the playmaking, but I think he will replace the presence of Bruce Brown, which is very important.
I really love what Brown's become as a roller, as a playmaker, as you said. Hits some shots, defends. Great addition for Indiana, and I do think that's a team to watch next year. But those are our thoughts on the signing so far. Still waiting on the Celtics to get a little more active. Joe Sway is on hand. We'll go live this weekend if something big happens. We saw Grant this morning. As the cap space dries up, I'd say it's increasingly possible he ends up back in Boston. So we'll keep an eye on that. And when he signs, we'll go live here and talk about it. Check out, we'll have a interview coming tomorrow as well. That I think you're all going to find interesting in the Garn Report, so stay tuned for that. And I'm going to do a quick news hit right now on Lillard and some thoughts I have there with some Celtics implications. Still no Jaylen Brown signing, which is weird, to say the least here. But had again a Dome Theory. If you don't know, group chat gets together here once a week. Some interviews coming with some people. I already have someone in mind for that. And some solo hits, when it called for. We're gonna have a big variety of stuff here on Dome Theory throughout the summer. Thanks for bearing with us here. Crazy last couple weeks. Nate, thanks for hopping on.
Of
And of course,
course.
subscribe to Dome Theory. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all those places. Anywhere you can think of, we are there. Just check
Did
out
you
Dome Theory Podcast.
not to cut you off? Did you hear that Stitcher is shutting down? Actually,
Is it?
yeah. Like I think their last day is July 29th.
So they
Yeah.
beat out SoundCloud?
No, SoundCloud is still alive and
I know.
kicking.
They
Yeah, they got beat by SoundCloud for sure. I
oh
mean,
yeah. They
there's
got
there's
beat.
there's still a bunch of leaks on SoundCloud. There's like I still have SoundCloud on my phone. Like there's still
I
a
used
reason to
to
be on
love that app.
SoundCloud.
I hear
Yeah.
DatPiff's going down though,
Oh yeah, for
fast.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Unfortunately,
definitely some like 2000s app technology when you go
LimeWire and
on
all
there.
that.
Yeah, that stinks. Stitcher was definitely a place where we were pumping this podcast when it first came out 7 years ago now, back when like audio podcasting was the big thing, not these YouTube shows. Nate, of course, hosts The Cap. Go check out The Cap Music Reviews. They reviewed Lil Uzi's album, which I found interesting on my drive home today.
Yeah.
I love I Just
Again,
Wanna Rock.
yeah. I think in a
Shuddy of the
concert
buddy.
setting, yeah, like, I think in a
I'm
concert setting
always
it's a
gonna
really
love
good
that
album.
line.
But in any other setting, I don't know about it. Also, the track. I mean, well, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Go watch the Cat podcast on Old Milk YouTube channel. I'm sure Bobby will put the link
We'll
in the
put that in the
description.
link. Yep.
Yes.
Link in the description. Nate, group chat edition is done here, and more to come tomorrow here on Celtics All Access and CLNS Media. See you guys